What do you want to talk about this week, Eric?
Same thing we talk about every week. Oh, I got a pain in my neck. My life is not sunshine.
Live to tape from Vancouver, it's Eric's Living Room, a show best listened to in the nude, featuring Amir Ali. And now, the man who still hasn't paid me for voicing these intros, here is your host, Eric Chapman.
Welcome to the living room. I am Eric. He is Amir. Mental health check. I was collecting I'm getting right into it, Amir. I was collecting EI for 9 months. I was supposed to have 12 months of EI. So employment insurance. I lost my job. Getting EI checks. I go to every 2 weeks. You got to fill out this paperwork to get your EI check. It's like, are you working? Have you earned anything? They do this audit on you, which is fine. I do it. I did it. I'm fine. It's doing it. So I do it, and the response comes back. This account is no longer active.
How many months has it been?
9.
Wow.
9.
Fuck.
And so I'm like, oh shit. Okay, so I call them up, and they're like, yeah, we cut you off early. We cut your EI off early. And so the other day, I went to bed knowing that I have negative $6 in my account right now, and rent is due in 2 days. And so the other day, I got this news, and I went to sleep. I was able to fall asleep actually quite easy. And then at about 3 a.m, I woke up, and it was just like, wait, I don't have rent. I don't have food. I don't have Teeny food. I don't have anything. And I just lost it. I started bawling. Teeny started crawling up on me. She's like, what's wrong, bro? And I'm like, oh. And yeah, it was 3 a.m. It took me I don't think I slept again. And yeah, I had to get up and pace around. I was like, oh my God. Because I was like, I just came to this realization that I'm absolutely fucked. But that being said, I've recovered well from it. I've been able to be like, okay, I can't do much about it. I managed to get enough work hopefully next week that I'll only be a little bit late with my rent, and I can get some people to pay up on some stuff that I've been working on. And so after I had that horrible day, and then I took about 2 days to recover. So it was a Monday, Tuesday. And I was able to recover very well, which I was surprised at, because the initial impact, I was like, oh shit, I'm going to need to go to therapy now, and I have no money for that. And so, yeah, I was like really happy. Like a couple days later, I'm like, wait a sec. I'm like, okay with this.
Why?
I don't know. I think I've just gone through enough. And every time that something like this happens, it just works out. Yeah. Like I work my ass off, and I make whatever it is to make it work out, whether it's me hustling or whatever. It just tends to work out. So I was just able to go to that. And I was like, I'm freaking out, but I'm okay.
It's a really interesting concept, the idea that, it's going to work out. Because I've been in the same position in not that regard, but in other situations where I'm like, fuck, stressing out. And like, the day before something happens, you're like, fuck, I'm fucked. And then it generally does always work out. But that makes me think of there's situations for so many people where it doesn't just work out.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think of that too, and I fall back on okay, it's going to work out, but not too far, whereas it's because, like, I'm going to lose my place or my rent. Like, I will eventually if I have to get a job at Tim Hortons for a while, I'll do that, or whatever it ends up doing. I have lots of transferable skills. It's just I don't want to do those things. There's a reason I do what I do.
Did they tell you why they cut you off? Like in this fucking economy, these motherfuckers cut people off of EI right now, and people can't afford shit.
They had some fucking explanation. Who knows? It's whatever you paid into it, and you have to reapply to get an extension. It was just like, okay, no, because I don't think I'd get the extension. I don't think I qualify.
Well, I mean, you should probably apply anyway, or try.
Well, also there's that too. I can fall back on that maybe if I have to, but I'm like, well, you know what? I got to do this anyways. So if I can make the next little bit work and it happens, then it's a good thing anyways.
Yeah, I guess you would have had to figure that out in the next three months.
It just moved up my timeline. Exactly. Right? So it's like a little more of a rush now, and I'm not appreciative of it, but it's like, again, it's like, this is what it is, so I'm fucking dealing with it.
So the last few episodes, you've been on like a high. You've been like, Eric is good.
Yeah,
is that over
he's
now?
Still there.
Oh, he's still there.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
I got
awesome.
a hot chick I make out with now, so that helps.
That's what else matters.
Nothing else matters. Yeah, I'm not usually a boob guy, but she's got really big boobs, and I'm having a good time.
I'm also not usually a boob guy.
Yeah, she's got a nice juicy booty too, so it's great. How's your mental health?
Not good.
No, no. Yeah, so you were I was communicating with you over the last few weeks and you didn't even respond. So I was like, I'm not mad about
Yeah,
the no, I was just like,
yeah.
oh, Amir's not in a good place.
Yeah, I wasn't in a good place. There's been some life changes involving relationships.
Yeah.
So I've been sort of dealing with that. In some ways it sucks. In some ways it does feel like a bit of a weight off of the shoulders. But I think I'm doing better than I have been at other episodes where we've talked about relationship stuff. So, yeah, it's been tough. You know, there's been some tears.
Lots of sad singing.
Yeah, you've seen some of that. Follow me on Instagram, Radio Optical Gaga, to see me sad singing
Sad
if
singing.
you want.
You know
No,
what
just
Amir's
kidding.
mood just by his Instagram and what songs he sings. Which is fine, I'm saying, but yeah, it's yeah. But
No.
so you've had long-term relationships.
Mainly.
Yeah, and this
Yeah.
past one wasn't that long, but it's still
It was
it's
so.
impacting you like a relationship maybe that was a bit longer would have.
Yeah, you know what I've realized just with you saying just that just now
Mhm, mhm.
is I've never really had a long break from being in relationships.
Okay, let's get into this.
Like
Okay,
it's just
how
like jumping from one to another in often cases without any like room in between to even like process the previous relationship,
Yep.
which I don't
Um,
think is very healthy.
what kind of gap are we talking? Like how like a couple weeks, a couple months? Are you at least giving it a couple months or is it weeks?
Yeah, this previous one wasn't even a couple months.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Ooh, that's a good realization to come through because that's a huge deal. Yeah.
So this is the first period of time I've got where I've just been alone for the most part and not thinking about anything but myself for the most part. And I think that's important. I think if you're in that position, you should definitely give yourself some time to like heal and process and like learn the lessons from that one. I think that's what I've learned the most right now is that there's a lot of lessons to learn from any relationship that you're in. And, you know, you carry that forward to the next relationship and hopefully put those lessons into practice. And I think that's something that I've struggled with that I'm not going to struggle with moving forward.
Oh, that's awesome. So you've realized that now.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a huge step right there. That's like 90% of the population doesn't get that. So that's good for you. Good job.
Yeah.
Damn. Yeah. See, I think the least I've given between a long-term relationship is 9 months.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. Even this
The
last one
least.
between the one, even my recent like super heartbreak.
Yeah, it's been months.
It's been 9 months.
9 months.
It was 9 months. Yeah. And I'm like, you know, you got the booty call and other than that, but even like I'm on the dating apps, but I'm not like, I wasn't like, I was looking for companionship. You know what I mean? I just wanted someone to talk to.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, yeah. And so it wasn't so much a relationship, but this woman I'm dating now, it's like, okay, I've given it 9 months. I feel better. I've gone over everything. The heartbreak is gone. I've learned my lessons. Fuck, as you said, like so many lessons are learned, good and bad. Like there was lots of positive that came out of it too. But yeah, so I think it's real important to show that respect to the relationship you just had, to yourself, and then to the relationship you're next, because there's always going to be something else.
Yeah, I
And
think
like if it's like 3 months, 6 months, okay, you don't need a big gap because that's obviously just a fun thing. You've met someone, blah blah blah. But maybe this for you, maybe this is a exception to the rule because you felt so deeply for this partner, and even though you weren't with them for a long time, maybe it does deserve that respect and that distance. You know, to give it at least 6 months before you like start looking for a new relationship.
Yeah. I don't think I'm going to be looking for anything new.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I've had a problem of just like carrying forward my mistakes, and the therapy that we've talked about a lot has been a huge point of just like reflection about the tendency I've had to keep pulling these mistakes forward. And it was more about just things inherently in me that I wasn't realizing about myself that I kept repeating.
Do you have an example of one that you want to share?
Sure, just like carrying forward insecurities that I've had from relationship to relationship without identifying that insecurity or where it's coming from. Therapy's allowed me to identify where my insecurities come from. And for that reason, I've been able to, learn about my insecurities and and identify them when they, like, when I'm triggered, when one of my insecurities are triggered. I can now see where that's coming from, what's happening inside me to cause me to be insecure. It's not the other person, it's
Right.
me.
It's usually the fear in you. Does it
Totally. It's fear.
Have you applied that to anything, like, and noticed like, oh shoot, I need to like deal with this?
Yeah, and actually I have a great example of in my last this previous relationship where things weren't going well, things sort of broke apart, and then we got back together, and I was having my very first therapy session, and this person said that they would be there afterwards to, like, talk to me about it,
dang,
which I was like, yeah, that'd be great.
That's nice.
And then I left therapy and they had fallen asleep, and they weren't there. And you can't be mad at somebody for falling asleep.
No.
But that immediately triggered this these insecure feelings and this feeling of like being abandoned.
Yeah.
And then immediately I picked up, or I recalled some things that I learned in that therapy session about like the inner child work that we have talked about on previous episodes. And I focused on thinking about how my inner child felt about this, again, feeling of abandonment in that moment. And I just kind of soothed that inner child.
Nice.
And I didn't have that insecure, abandoned feeling reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, definitely just put it right into practice with those tools that I picked up in that session just like an hour before. So
Yeah, man, talking to that young kid, dude, it's so helpful, eh?
it is, and I don't do it enough.
No, and I don't either, but because most of the time when I do it, because I like to vote, I've mentioned it before, like I like to say it out loud, not just think it. And it's weird to be sitting somewhere because you got to apply it in all situations. So sometimes like I'm having this issue and I need to talk to him, and like I'm in public, and I'm like sitting on a bench. I'm like, look, little buddy, like thanks for the help, but I'm an adult now and I need to deal this with myself, So that part I find like, got to find this balance, and it's tricky.
Yeah.
Because like, who gives a shit though too? Like if
About
anybody
what?
sees me talking to myself,
Yeah, I don't care anymore
insecurities,
either. I've
again.
cried in public so much now that I'm like, who gives a fuck? I'll have a breakdown on SkyTrain. It's fine.
Oh, it's the worst. Well, it's not the
is.
worst anymore. It's fine. But yeah, you're right. Yeah, after a while, you get. Oh my God, I was listening to a song a couple weeks ago, "The Eye" by Brandy Carlisle, and it's about like addiction.
Oh.
And it's just like, she's talking about her friends who's addicted to booze or whatever. And it just hit me on the bus. And I just started fucking openly weeping. It's like, oh my God, whoa, shit. And I looked up and I was like, and nobody saw me. Like, again, I don't care. But I was like, oh, first thing I did, and I wiped it away. But yeah. So public crying. So have you, for your past mistakes, have you been able to forgive yourself for those things? Are you good with forgiving yourself about stuff?
I'm better at forgiving other people than I am forgiving myself. I think I'm extra hard on myself, and things that I perceive as mistakes that I've made, especially when they're mistakes that impact other people, I wear that, and I'm very hard on myself about that.
And do you find it annoying when everybody asks for forgiveness all the time? So I don't know I got to phrase this properly, because there is a time and a place for forgiveness. And I agree mostly with what for me, it implies mostly to what you just said, for myself and the dear friends around me.
Mm-hmm.
But like, sometimes I feel like for me, in the most relatable right now that comes to mind is my professional setting. So I got fucked over by people at like Chorus and CK&W. And like, I have not forgiven them, and I won't. But I don't like grasp onto it and like ruminate on it and think about it. It doesn't overtake my life, and it doesn't make me, make bad decisions or make abrupt decisions or do dumb things. It's like I haven't let it go, but that letting it go doesn't eat away at me. And so it's like, the forgiveness part of that, it's like, I'm not going to forgive these pieces of shit, and I never will, but I don't need to. I'm able to move on without that forgiveness. But I find often it's like, well, you should forgive them or forgive. It's like, you know what? Fuck you. No, I don't think we need to. I think that, and it goes, maybe you'll relate to this too, and I'm talking about this a lot more too. Anger, man. It's like, anger's okay, bro. Like, let's not be afraid of it. And if a little anger comes along with my feelings for these people, then that's okay too. You know what I mean? Like, why are we pushing all this shit away? And fuck them, I'm not forgiving them.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts on what you just said about forgiveness and as well as anger. It's a very, very big deal in my culture, forgiveness.
Muslim?
Yeah, Muslim. And it's a very big deal for people to be forgiven for, things that they've done before they die. Because if you take that,
Oh, shit.
with your death,
Yeah.
then it's like your soul is like weighed down because you haven't been forgiven by these people. And I think about my dad a lot in relation to that and how he's done so much to our family that I don't think I'll ever forgive him for. And I think he's the kind of person that I could see asking for it when he's on his deathbed. And I've always had this weird, I call it a fantasy.
Oh, yes, I know where you're going. This is awesome.
To tell him, no, I don't forgive you, as he's dying. I know that's dark and maybe cruel.
It's not. I don't think it is, because this isn't about him or anybody. This is about you, homie. And if that's what you need, and if it's not spite. It's not, I don't think it's anything like that. I think what you're doing is okay. And if people are pieces of shit, then fuck them, man. You don't have to be nice to them. They're pieces of shit.
The only worry that I carry with that reality is like, say this is something that happens 5 years from now, which is a real possibility.
Okay.
And
How old is your pops?
He's probably like early 70s or something like that. Okay. But not very healthy.
Okay.
He just a lot of smoke and red meat and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I have a fear that I do that, and then like 10 years down the road, I think about that. I'm like, oh fuck, maybe I've changed, maybe I've reflected, and like, oh shit, maybe I should have.
Right.
And then it's too late at that point.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I guess there is but even beyond that, I don't know. Yeah, because my dad died around 3 years ago now, and I'm still like.
And you never forgave him for anything.
No, fuck no, and I never will. And again, it's like I just don't think about him enough to even want to,
You also spoke about anger, and
yeah.
I've had a lot of thoughts about anger. When I was a kid, I was a really, really angry person.
Which is weird to think about.
I know.
Because I was the same way. I was an angry kid too, which is weird, yeah.
All the men in my family had really short tempers. Like my oldest brother, he would like snap on a dime. My dad, same thing. Okay. And when I was a kid, I did that too. I remember getting into a lot of fights when I was a kid because I would just snap at other kids and beat the shit out of them. I know that's hard to believe too.
Oh my God, dude, I didn't realize this. We're very similar as children.
Really?
I did the
You
same
beat the
thing.
shit out of people too?
Me and my friend put a kid in the hospital because his spleen got damaged because we beat him up so bad. And yeah, like me and my friend Brandon were so angry, and that's what we did. We just beat kids up because the same thing. We just get angry and fucking fight. Yeah. Oh my God, I can't picture you fighting anybody.
I know. I can't either anymore unless I'm pushed to the brink.
Of course. Or like your safety's in concern.
Yeah. So in my early 20s, I thought a lot about anger. And there's this book called Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, who was like the Greek emperor or whatever, or like the soldier.
Throwback.
I forget what his actual title is, but he writes something about how anger is like the loss of reason. So like when you're angry, you've lost your rationality and you're no longer thinking rationally or reasonably. And I want to agree that there is a place for anger, but I have so much trouble getting angry, and I don't like feeling like I've lost my senses because of anger.
Right.
If you can like direct the anger and keep it pointed.
Yes. You're hitting exactly the way I feel about it too. Yeah, like, and don't get me wrong, I get angry and get lost in it too, but for the most part, I'm just able to be that angry. And just like when you cried on the bus, you know what I mean? Right. Same thing. It's like, I just need 5 minutes just to be angry. And yes, people often think of, when you're angry, it's like fight or flight right away. But there are ways to like work through that and be like, yo, I'm just fucking pissed. And my voice is fucking elevated because I'm angry. And that's fucking okay. Yeah. But that's where people get scared.
Yeah, exactly. I get scared.
Right. Yeah, even myself. Are you kidding me? As soon as my voice gets to a certain level, I'm like, whoa, I just scared someone. I'm abusive. Like, that was bad. I beat myself up because I'm like, in my childhood, elevated voices meant something else was coming, right?
That's why I freeze today. Like, if I think about like someone getting angry at me in a relationship and yelling, I immediately freeze because it's like a trigger two times when I was younger, and like anger meant some bad shit was about to happen.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's immediately it's flight. There's no fight in there. It's gone. I gotta go.
So I do get angry, but I get angry about stuff that you shouldn't be angry about.
Well, what does that mean, though?
Well, I'm thinking about something that you told me last week.
Oh, fuck.
And I get angry about the dumbest shit. Like Eric mentioned something about fast forwarding through movies
Okay.
to the end. Maybe you can explain your position on that.
So I'm a genius.
That makes me
I'm like
really
the
angry.
most brilliant
Oh my
person on the
God.
planet, and I know
Fuck.
everything. And I love TV because we're in a golden age of TV and movies. And so I just love watching it. I don't even have to watch it. It just has to be on. Like, I fucking love TV. This new girl I'm dating, Leslie, all we talk about is TV. It's the greatest. And so, because I'm so immersed in it all the time, sometimes when I'm watching shit, about 5 to 10 minutes in, I'm like, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen. The guy sucks at writing. The director's an idiot. I've got it. And so I just quickly, in my mind, I'm like, here, blah, blah, I see it, and then I'll fast forward to the last 5 minutes to see the last 5 minutes just to be like, yes,
I was
I'm
right.
validated. I am so fucking smart. I should write movies. And so, yeah, and probably more frequently than you would like, I do that. And not so much with TV shows, but movies specifically. Like, honestly, I haven't watched like Rocky or The Godfather, and I know for a fact if I watched either of them, unless it was a group setting, I would watch the first 5 fucking minutes and go to the end, or
Okay.
maybe catch a middle. But yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna paint a scenario then about Rocky. I'll see if you can actually predict the ending here. Okay, Rocky
He loses.
is. Fuck. You probably already knew that.
Well, no, but I knew it before. I haven't seen it. Of course, I know it, but I mean,
Damn it.
the movie that's the plot. He's the underdog. He's gonna lose everything. But the point is, you don't have to win to be a winner. You can lose and be a winner. I
Yeah,
get
isn't
it,
that
fuck.
beautiful? And you haven't seen Rocky?
No, man, no.
It won Best Picture.
How? Is the acting even that good?
No, it wasn't
Well,
about
right?
the acting. It was just a movie with a lot of heart, you know?
Right, and yeah, see, I don't like movies winning shit for just having a lot of heart. That's like a participation trophy.
This was like in the 70s, though. Like, everything was different.
right, that's
back then.
true. But like, yeah, like I watched Poor Things the other day.
Oh, really?
Fuck me, I love that movie.
Yeah, it's awesome.
so good. And
yeah,
like,
I really liked it too.
it's very sexual.
Oh yeah,
But-
very graphically sexual.
The way that it was written, and even though she's hella fine and has got great boobies, and her body is banging, and she's smart and all, she got it all. Most of the time, I didn't even notice the nudity or the sexuality. I was just so enthralled by her experience and what she was other than like one experience, the sexuality, I didn't even notice it. And a lot of people are like, it's so sexual. I'm like, oh yeah, it was, yeah, but I didn't notice it because it's just such a beautiful, amazing story.
I
Yeah,
thought you didn't like boobies.
because they're small boobies. I like smaller boobies. If I'm gonna choose a boobie, I like a smaller boobie.
Yeah, no, I agree about the sex. I don't think it was like a focal point.
Yeah,
it
no.
was there,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that wasn't the point.
No, but it was great. But yeah, but fuck movies, man. If they're bad, I'm not gonna watch them,
Son
and
of
I'm gonna suffer.
a bitch, and I'm gonna get angry about it. Well, what do you want to talk about next week, Eric?
Same thing we should be talking about every week, Amir. How P. Diddy's a fucking creep.
Fuck, he's nasty. They're actually calling him P. Diddler now.
Oh, I haven't heard that. That's awesome.